here. Cole accused of setting those pipe bombs at the Democratic and Republican National Committee headquarters, again, the evening before the January 6th Capitol riot. He was seen on surveillance video. This is a case that has stumped law enforcement for many, many years. There was even a $500,000 reward for information leading to his arrest. It'll be interesting to see if it was a tip that led to this arrest. But again, we're doing some digging. We just got here on site, and we'll bring you those updates and latest information as it becomes available.
Yet again, Tisha Lewis in Woodbridge, Virginia. Earlier today, our own Tom Fitzgerald got a chance to speak with Virginia Senator Mark Warner. While doing so, he asked him about the arrest.
Got a lot on our plate this morning, including this news from the FBI that apparently an arrest has been made in the January 6th pipe bombing incidents at DNC and RNC headquarters back on January 6, 2021. There is some reporting this morning that the suspect is in custody and possibly from Virginia. With your proviso that we understand that you don't talk about things that go on in the Senate Intelligence Committee, could you at least, number one, give us your reaction to this news? Number two, this has been 5 years. How closely has the federal government been following this, and have people been giving up hope that this coast would have been closed?
Well, Tom, I literally heard about this as I was sitting down, so I don't have any additional information. We have not been briefed up on this over these last few years. January 6th was an extraordinarily dangerous day. I was up here on the Capitol when the invaders and insurrectionists put the House and the Senate members, and frankly, Capitol Police as well, in harm's way. I think it was outrageous that the president offered a blanket pardon and tried to say no harm, no foul here. I do remember the reports that day of the pipe bombs at, I think it was both DNC and RNC, but I'm anxious to get the information, and I'll be back to folks as soon as I have. But literally, first thing I heard about it was Rachel told me as I just sat in the chair, so let me get you some information. But again, I guess the overarching, just the one overarching issue is.
Just generally.
Pardon me?
I was just wondering if I could follow just generally on the issue of domestic terrorism. How big of a threat is this? We don't talk about it as much.
It is still a threat.
Yet again, our Tom Fitzgerald speaking with Virginia Senator Mark Warner about the arrest of the Woodbridge man in connection with not one but several pipe bombs placed on the eve of January 6th. We'll continue to follow this developing story. We are expecting a press conference to get underway surrounding this at about 1 p.m. When that happens, we'll take you there. What this is right here that you're taking a look at now, President Trump set to meet with the leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo in Rwanda to oversee the signing of a peace deal. That, too, is due to start momentarily, and when that happens, we'll take you there on the Live Zone. Andrea Kaye now joining us to discuss all things politics right here on the LZ. And Andrea, as you could tell, it has been quite the busy day right here in the nation's capital. We'll start with the arrest of the Woodbridge man, now accused of, in essence, setting not one but several pipe bombs on the eve of January 6th. Your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are it's one of two things has gone on here for this arrest to finally be made 5 years after the fact. Is this is either a colossal, monumental failure on the part of the FBI and the intelligence community, or part of an inside job. Many people believe that Jan 6 and the Fed was a Fedsurrection and that the entire thing was an inside job, including the planting of these pipe bombs. Because how is it that a man who was outside the Capitol on Jan 6, who lived off the grid out in the backwoods of North Carolina, went home 2 days after Jan 6 and found the FBI on his doorstep? He lived off the grid. He had no cell phone, no iPad, no other devices, and they found him. But this same FBI could not find a guy living in the backyard who wore these fancy, almost one-of-a-kind Nike shoes. I mean, who's watching that movie? Who's believing that nonsense? We have too many questions that maybe finally will get answered. Like, how did the Secret Service miss these bombs, Guy? Kamala Harris walked like within feet of these bombs, and they weren't found during a sweep. Assets were redirected in the middle of the riot that was taking place. There's just something has smelled from day one, not just on Jan 6th, but particularly related to this pipe bomb story. And I don't know if we're ever going to fully get all the answers, but hopefully we'll get some.
Yeah, as the saying goes, where there's smoke, there's fire. I got to tell you, there's a big fire here. And hopefully pretty soon we'll get some more answers with regard to all things surrounding the smoke. A presser set to get underway beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern. Our very own Bob Barnard will be there. We'll take you there when that happens. Let's talk about the other big story, Andrea. In this case, senior lawmakers receiving a briefing from the Admiral, who Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said ordered a follow-up strike on an alleged Caribbean drug boat. One top Democrat described the briefing as one of the most troubling things he has seen in office. Your thoughts on this?
Well, I find it humorous. What was so troubling for him? That the military did their job? These are narco-terrorists. They're a terrorist organization. What was so troubling here? What's really troubling is what this is all about. What is the underlying issue here, which is ever since Pete Hegseth stepped in and was nominated to be Secretary of Defense and now Secretary of War, they've been trying to undermine him because they know that what the Trump administration's plans was for this department was to return it to a fighting force. And this is not, by the way, when it comes to war and this narco-terrorist organization, it does not, this is not action that's a part of typical combat warfare where you've got boots on the ground like in World War II. These are a terrorist organization, and they dropped a bomb, and if there was any remnants left of the boat, they finished it off. I mean, who's out there thinking that we send anybody into war, whether it's bombing narco-terrorist boats or whether it's combat boots on the ground, where they only got, one bullet and a gun? That's it? Is that what is so disturbing to a Democrat, that they actually finished the job here? It's absolutely ludicrous. This took place in September, and what it's ultimately about is undercutting Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, as well as covering up. The timing of this has to do with covering up for the seditious six who are in the crosshairs now, including Mark Kelly, who is subject to possibly being recalled under the Uniform Code of Military Justice for his video that he did, which is in direct violation of the military code, which was specifically intended to disrupt and disturb the morale within the chain of command.
Yeah, with regard to that video, a lot of eyes on that video, and typically out of the right with regard to the Republican camp, not too happy with what he did. Meanwhile, the Trump administration now threatening to block Democratic-led states from receiving SNAP funding. According to an announcement from Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, the agency is, really moving to stop federal funds for states refusing to comply with the agency's demand for data about food stamp recipients. The president speaking there several days ago surrounding all things with regard to that. What are you thinking about this, Andrea?
What I'm thinking is it's not federal money that's being doled out. It's taxpayer money. And when you're going to spend a dime of my money, I want to know who's getting it. And I want to be ensured that the people processing that funds are actually delivering the funds to people who should be getting the funds. We know that Brooke Rollins has laid out all the details of the hundreds of thousands of people across the country that don't deserve to be getting the funds. We've got illegal aliens that have been getting funds. We've got people getting funds individuals that have 6 accounts under different names. And, you have to really be questioning why any Democrat would be fighting to give that information over. They must be sitting on a whole lot of fraud, or they'd be like, oh, you want the information? Well, here it is.
Yeah, I got to tell you, this is something that ceases to amaze me, and I'm really curious as to what will end up happening. I think a lot of Americans are really curious about it as well. Yet again, only time will tell. We all know that President Trump now rolling back fuel economy standards for American automakers. You got a chance to probably see it right here following the Live Zone yesterday, but Trump said he was lowering standards set by Biden administration that required passenger cars and light trucks to have a fuel efficiency of around 50 miles per gallon by 2031. A lot of folks smiling about this, Andrea.
Well, yeah, because what a lot of people don't realize is that when these cafe standards were first put into practice, what the result was is that we went from being an American culture that rolled down the streets and things like Lincoln Continentals and these big, metal, I don't know if you may not be old enough to remember a Lincoln Continental, Guy Lambert.
By far I do.
But okay, well, good. And so these cafe standards came along, supposedly for fuel efficiency, and this was the beginning of the climate change and all that kind of stuff. And what ended up happening is now you got Americans rolling down the street in little Tonka toys made of plastics, and the injuries and the deaths on our highways has skyrocketed. So if we can get back to people, we get rid of these cafe standards, we might have not just better, economical choices for Americans in terms of buying automobiles, but also greater safety.
All right, we'll end with this, and that is what's taking place in New Orleans. Hundreds of Border Patrol agents have descended on the city of New Orleans as part of a federal law enforcement operation. Several witnesses stating that federal agents rounded up several groups of immigrant workers across the city Wednesday, and agents in unmarked vehicles were stopping at locations where day laborers commonly gathered. Your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts on that is that Louisiana's come a long way, my home state. Louisiana's come a long way in terms of trying to turn things around for the people that are just so impoverished all across the state of Louisiana and Orleans Parish and Kenner down there. And to have all these people come into that state illegally and make things and use up resources and taxpayer dollars that could be going to the poorest of the poor in the city. I am all for this Operation Catahoula Crunch. I may even bake a cake and name it Catahoula Crunch tonight in honor of this.
Well, just make sure you share, as they know sharing is caring. I lied. I said we would end with that, but that's not the case. In this case, I want to bring up yet again, Producer Joey, let's go ahead and bring up what the president is about to do in this case surrounding all things with regard to meeting the leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo in Rwanda. The president will oversee a signing of a peace deal. Yet again, Andrea, a major win for President Trump, who states that, well, he's ended 8, perhaps now 9 wars. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are anytime that we can bring peace to, and we can have a hand in bringing peace to other nations around the world, that's a good thing. I think there are many people today going, Rwanda, a peace deal? This has not really been something that the American people have had in their top 5 issues in terms of that typically is how am I going to feed my kids today. I do think that President Trump, it's great that if he's able to play a role in bringing peace, that's wonderful. But there are a lot of people, Guy, that are like, President Trump needs to be more focused on domestic issues, including policies that could help bring down and make things more affordable, which the deportations will do, by the way. I'm hearing reports out of the HUD secretary that the deportations that have taken place have already resulted in some rent drops around the country. So it's great if Trump wants to be the peacemaker. Maybe it's in search of the Nobel Peace Prize, but we want to make sure that he stays focused on domestic issues for the American people. And
yet again, that meeting set to get underway momentarily. We'll take you there when that happens. It's always good to see you, Andrea. Andrea Kaye, political strategist and Ready to Go host, joining us right here on the Live Zone.
Thank you, Guy. Happy holidays, everyone.
Same to you. We'll take our first break. We'll be right back. Here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Well, the 2026 World Cup draw will take place on Friday. Yeah, that's tomorrow, by the way, at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts right here in the nation's capital. Now, this is going to be one of the most important moments ahead of the much-anticipated summer tournament that will take place, guess where? Right here in the good old US of A, Canada and Mexico, kicking off in June. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is Simra Hunter, a trailblazing American sports journalist and one of the most respected on-air voices in the world of football. And we're talking real football.
We're talking the original, the OG football.
Good to see you and welcome.
Nice to see you as well. Thank you very much for that lovely introduction.
Oh, you're welcome. And it's such an honor to have you sitting right here next to me. This is just so cool. You have done so much and you continue to do well. We're talking all things FIFA World Cup draw. And I got to tell you, I'm happy to be one of these dumb Americans that love watching soccer, but I don't really get it as to why it's such a big deal.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure some of the viewers are saying, you know what, Guy, okay, I side with you. Do tell.
Okay, well, it is, of course, the world's game, isn't it? It's the
By
beautiful
far.
game. Everybody loves this sport. And I think why it's so important to so many people is that it's like a religion for them. They live
Yeah.
and breathe this sport in a way that I think Americans have still yet to learn and fully understand. Although I do think that is changing because you see so much more enthusiasm, so much more
Yeah.
passion around it now. People are catching on. And I think when they start to watch, they get hooked.
Oh,
They get
gosh,
addicted.
yeah.
So this is a major milestone, I think, for the United States in terms of what is to come in the aftermath, the legacy that it could leave behind as well. And I just think it's a beautiful moment for the world's game to really shine in the spotlight on home soil here in the
Wow,
US.
that is just so awesome and well said. You know, one of the interesting things is that, as you pointed out, it's one thing to play in a World Cup, right?
Right.
It's another when, oh my gosh, it happens to be on home turf.
Right.
Do tell.
So obviously, 94, I don't remember. I was too young.
Yeah. Oh,
Just out
shoot.
there.
Okay, well, I was here. That's how old I am.
All right, we won't go down that path. But what I will say, for example, the 99 World Cup, the Women's World Cup, I'm from Los Angeles.
Sure.
Pasadena is relatively down the road. We did go to the final, and it left such an impact on me, so much so that I'm sitting right here next to you right now. The legacy of that tournament, and for women and for girls
Yeah.
in this country, is now you have someone who actually went across the pond, established a career for herself in football, and is
Wow.
now here talking about it at home with you. So I think it could be so massive in terms of really what comes after this, a ripple effect.
All right, so I have to ask, and I know you don't have a crystal ball sitting right there in your lap, but
Oh, here we go.
how will we fare? All eyes are on the Americans, obviously. We want to do well, but the likelihood of that happening?
You know what? I want to be very optimistic.
Okay.
I want to say that we are improving, that we are getting better, we are going from strength to strength, we are also having much more homegrown talent than we used to in the past. It is still very early to say. I
Okay.
mean, it's December, the tournament is in June,
Right.
a lot can happen between now and then. We don't know what the team is going to look like, we don't know who will be selected, we don't know who will be injured, we don't know who will be fit, we don't know how the other teams are going to be looking.
Wow.
So I'm going to sit a little bit on the fence and just say, yeah, I'm not going to give too much of a prediction.
Yeah.
But I do want to say, I think no matter what happens, the United States is going to win overall. Football is going to win in this country.
Yeah, that is so true. I think about all the young guys and gals that have begun to really watch the sport and really and truly love it. This yet again is another way for them to see it on a major stage
Right.
and really take part in it as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but because this is taking place on home soil, we have somewhat of an advantage, correct, with regard to the teams that perhaps we will play
Correct.
early on.
Correct. So there are 4 pots.
Okay.
There are 48 teams, which obviously this is an expanded format. There used to be 32 teams. So there's 16 more teams in the mix. There's more matches as well. We now have a round of 32, which we didn't have previously. The advantage for us is, A, we are playing on home soil.
Yeah.
So we're going to be in front of our own crowds, our own stadiums, our own culture, our own color, traditions, all of that good stuff, right? The other advantage is we're in pot 1. Pot 1 is where all the heavy hitters lie. It's where all the top-seeded nations go. And so, in theory, all of the other nations from pot 2, 3, and 4 are, let's say, less. They're not as strong. Let's put it
Got
that
it.
way. So, in theory, yes, we should have a leg up going into the first pot.
That's called the diplomatic approach. I absolutely love how you did that. You did it oh so well. As I'm thinking about to the draw tomorrow, there will be yet again all eyes right here on the nation's capital. Once the FIFA World Cup gets underway, there will be a plethora of folks from all over the world making their way right here to Washington, D.C. What is it that you hope they experience, being that you are now across the pond, if you will, day in and day out?
I want people to really connect with Americans in the right way. I want people to come here and see how warm and kind and generous we can be.
Wow.
We're capable of that. Because right now I think a lot of America is getting quite bad press, getting a bad image abroad. A lot of people are coming up to me in Europe and they're saying, what on earth is going on in the United States? And I think people would like to really have this experience of meeting people on the ground, speaking to them, understanding their point of view, and making new friends. Why not? And I think we can be a very hospitable country and a hospitable people in terms of being very open and welcoming. And so I would love for people to enjoy that aspect of the United States and to understand as well the different cultures that we offer across the whole nation, because it's a massive country, isn't it?
Yeah.
And everywhere is so different and so unique and so special. And I think also just the wonderful vibe and the show that we'll put on. I don't think anyone puts on a better show in the world when it comes to entertainment than us right here in the United States.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. You know what else I love? That the mere fact that football has provided you with a different avenue to really grow. And in this case, I'm making mention of your luxury, your travel company, if you will.
Yes.
Do tell.
Right, so the long story short is, when I moved abroad, I went to Spain for 15 years. I lived in Turkey for 2 years, and now I'm living in Morocco, where I've been for this entire year. The reason being is love. I fell in love with a man who is from there. I decided to...
Oh, I wish we had pictures. Producer Joey, shame on me. I should have gotten pictures.
There's still time. And essentially, he just said to me one day when I was visiting, why don't you move to Marrakesh? And I said, you know what, why not? And so I did, and he's been in the travel industry for many, many years, and we decided to have a project that we could do together that really united us as a partnership and as a team. And so I'm bringing the PR, communications, let's say foreign understanding side of things, that Western mentality, that traveler mentality, and he's bringing the local knowledge, the local experience, the network. And we put together a brand new travel agency that's still being built. It's called Sahara Morocco Tours, like Sahara, the desert, which is where he's from, and then we added an I to it to make it sound a little bit more luxe. And yeah, we're curating luxury bespoke tours for anybody who wants to come and really get to know a truly special, magnificent place on planet Earth.
That is so awesome. I'm so happy for you, and I'm so happy we got a chance to chit-chat and help folks like me, yet again, the dumb American, better
Please
understand.
Don't say that
Well, I keep it real. What I'm good at, I'm good at. What I'm not, I'll just tell you. One thing you're good at is all things football, the real football, as we like to call it. Yet again, we have been discussing all of this and so much more with Semra Hunter joining us right here on the Live Zone. Folks, I want to find out more information about you. How would one go about to do so?
So you can find me on Instagram with my name, Semra Hunter, S-E-M-R-A, pretty straightforward. Same thing with, let's see, where else am I these days? Mostly Instagram, I would say. I'm not really using Facebook too much, but it's there as well. Same with X, LinkedIn, YouTube, the usual. And I'm actually mostly working on television abroad, so you wouldn't necessarily find me in the United States, but where you can listen to me is on Spotify. Because I'm actually here as the official host of FIFA's podcast, the World Cup show.
Wow. So such an honor.
Come and tune in and have a listen with us.
She's the real deal, guys. Semra Hunter joining us right here on the Live Zone. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone, taking you now to Capitol Hill, where Affordable Care Act subsidies that help millions of Americans pay for health care insurance, well, that will expire in less than a month. As a result, a number of Democrats now crying foul, including this one. This is a part of the Senate Democrat leaders speaking on health care costs. Let's take a look.
And not stepping forward. If they want to come up with reforms, put them on the table. They've had time. Let's get these things extended. The bill that Leader Schumer's talking about has Republican support in the House. They've introduced their own bill. There's a support to get this done and get it to the president. I hope and I pray that my Republican colleagues will do the right thing. There's no reason that they can't join us. Get this done. Do it on a voice vote, for God's sakes. Get this done. Tell the American people before Christmas you're going to be okay. We care about you. We're not going to kick you in the face one more time. With that, I'm going to turn it over to my friend from Vermont, Peter Welch.
Thank you very much. You know, we have a healthcare crisis in this country. This country pays the most and gets the least. Literally, we pay about 2 times more than like European countries or Canada, and our healthcare outcomes are not as good, which is not to say we don't have great care, but it is getting unaffordable. We've got a calendar that is relentlessly ticking away, and unless we extend these tax credits so that people can continue to have the same health care in 2026 that they had in 2025, 24 million Americans are in jeopardy. Leader Schumer brought the Democrats together. We felt it was our responsibility to put a concrete plan on the table that would make certain that Americans across the country did not lose their health care. And Chuck, thank you, because we have 47 votes. We need 13 more. The key to that is going to be whether President Trump wants to engage and bring the parties together to extend these credits. The aspect of this that I find very sad is that the people who are going to suffer are people who are represented by Democrats and by Republicans. It just doesn't matter. These are folks, families, farmers, they need health care. You know, I got a call from a farmer in the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont. He's a Trump voter. But he said, Peter, I'm paying $900 a month for health care. And if we lose these tax credits, my health care is going to go up to $3,200. And he says, you don't have to worry about me anymore because my family's dropping health care. Well, I do care about him. We all care about him. And that's why Leader Schumer brought the Democrats together to put on the table a concrete plan. We don't have anything in response. And, you know, we often get in the blame game around here, but the one group that cannot be blamed are the Americans who are going to be losing their health care. They have no power to address this. So the Schumer plan here is a concrete proposal that would give security to folks in Vermont, and I'm going to be going to Nebraska and Iowa in my capacity as the ranking member of the Rural Subcommittee on Rural America and the Ag Committee. But I'm going to be talking to farmers out there who are going to be saying the same thing as that Northeast Kingdom farmer said to me. We want to protect the health care that families in this country have. And that includes Republicans, it includes Democrats, it includes independents. So we've got a concrete plan. We've had no response. And that means we're just going to abandon families and businesses and Americans who are going to lose in 2026 what they had in 2025. We got to pass this bill.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Blunt Rochester.
Thank you.
Colleague.
Thank you.
First, thank you, Leader Schumer, for inviting me to participate. It's really good to be here with 2 senators who I had the honor of serving with on the Energy and Commerce Committee in the House. We did a lot of good work on prescription drugs, health disparities, and a whole host of other issues. And as I stand here, I'm literally thinking and watching the clock in front of me tick. The clock is ticking. Time is running out. There is a sense of urgency for those of us who are standing up here. And so I know the leader would say he doesn't consider this his plan. He considers this the American plan, that we do something. And I will tell you, as was said by my colleagues, I come from the state of Delaware. And anyone who knows Delaware knows that we are urban, suburban, rural, and coastal. We have farmers. We have small businesses. We have environmental justice communities that are impacted, even by cafe standards. And so I will tell you, yesterday, when I was looking at my television and seeing our Republican colleagues at the White House, what I thought they were announcing was a healthcare plan. I was shocked that what they were announcing was something that would make us less healthy. And so as I stand here today, I think about the years of my work in this space of health. I served as Deputy Secretary of Health and Social Services in Delaware and got to see the impact of healthcare. I served as head of state personnel, so I saw healthcare from an employer perspective and how much it costs and how do you keep people healthy. I served as CEO of the Urban League, so I got to see health disparities and how in this country, as rich as we are, we have one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world. So healthcare to me is a basic necessity. It's what drove me to run in 2016 and what I fought for. And times it's sort of like history is repeating itself or rhyming, because I came in, Donald Trump was president. Republicans had the House and the Senate. And as was said, there were calls for repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act. What we recognize is that the Affordable Care Act is not perfect. But one thing I do know is that that family who has somebody with a pre-existing condition like asthma or diabetes is grateful. That parent who has a kid who's 22 or 23 is grateful. And so what we're saying here is very simple. We have an immediate problem, an immediate crisis, an immediate cliff, and we need to take immediate action. And that's why we're proposing the 3-year time frame to allow us to also work with our Republican colleagues to make the substantial changes that we need to make us a healthier country and to make sure that we have a healthcare system that's working for all of us. I came up here with a whole bunch of notes and really didn't use any of them because it's really that basic. It's really that simple. We're proposing something that will help right now while we also give time to work together. I have stories of Delawareans, as my colleagues do, small business owners, rideshare drivers, young people who are concerned. For the first time, I had a resource fair. For the first time, people were lined up hugging me, saying, please help us. Please. And so we stand up here on behalf of the hardworking families. And we also stand up here to say, for anyone, including the president, to say that this is a Democratic hoax. Right now, people are looking in their email and in their mailboxes, and they have the receipts. It's happening now. And we need to act now. And so I thank you, Leader Schumer, for your leadership. I'm fortunate that I had the opportunity to also work with Senator Wyden on legislation, the Protecting Patients and Affordable Care Act, that focuses on not just the 3 years, but it is in tandem with this to make sure that some of the harmful things that were already done this year through the Big Beautiful Bill and through regulation are pulled back so that people, again, don't fall off a cliff, and that we're making sure that they're able to navigate this system. Again, I'm glad to be standing here before you, but I'll be happier when we pass this legislation. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you. Questions on this subject? Yes.
Good afternoon, thank you. Are you concerned that the Republicans, have this idea that Obamacare was, quote, the fault of the Democrats? That there's problems with Obamacare, that's why it needs this subsidy. 3 of the 4 of you voted for this in either the House or the Senate before, and that therefore they rely on that as a crutch to say, oh, this shows why Obamacare is broken, and therefore we don't have to do anything about it.
Shows you how out of touch they are. 55% of people who voted for Trump in November of 2024 support extending the credits. 55% of Trump voters. The Republicans are so much in a bubble. They're so out of touch. They don't understand the anguish and concern of the American people. Yes.
Can I add one thing to that, Chair?
Sure.
I also want to remind us that the disproportionate amount of people who are impacted by these tax credits not going into place are from red states.
Yeah.
Many of those states didn't expand
Here, look at the
Medicaid, and that's why many of them are the ones that are going to be impacted. So this isn't a Democratic thing. This is an American problem right now.
It's overwhelmingly supported by people in all parties, including Trump voters. Yes.
Over the last couple of days, there are a number of House Democrats that have presented framework, both bipartisan and the New Dems. Have you had conversations with House leadership about getting everyone on board in the House? I know you said that Democrats in the Senate.
The bottom line is the first thing that has to happen is to avoid the calamity that's going to happen is the 13 Republicans need to vote with us on this bill. As for whatever House proposals there are, we'll always look at something. But I don't even see 15 Republicans supporting it right now. You have the Republicans having no plan, no unity. They're busy fighting with each other. Sure, an individual or 2 or 3 people can say this or that. It's not going to solve the problem. Yes.
You have talked about Trump being the key to all of this, and in the past have said that you would call him when the time is right. Do you think maybe the time now calls for a direct phone call to President Trump?
Trump calls this a hoax. What Trump ought to do is talk to the Republican senators and say, vote for this proposal. That's the way to solve the problem. That's just about the only way to solve the problem before the January 1st deadline. Then, I mean, look at it. They don't even have a plan. They don't even have 2 plans they're divided about. They're all over the lot saying many different things, fighting with each other. It's crazy. It's just crazy on such an important issue that they would have that. Yes?
This bill obviously can't get the 60 votes to overcome a filibuster. Let's not pretend it can. But I understand Republicans don't have a plan, but why not propose something that has some of the tweaks Republicans have asked for? There are at least 5 to 6 Republicans who said they would vote for an extension with an income cap, with
they haven't.
eliminates the $0 premium.
Ask them what they want to do on Hyde, those 5 or 6 Republicans. Yes.
Senator, why did the bipartisan talks to negotiate a compromise bill fail, in your view?
Well, you can talk to the bipartisan people who were talking, but in the views of the Democrats I've talked to, the Republicans never had a plan that could be even close to acceptable, and they were unwilling to deal with Hyde. I mean, Peter was part of those. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is they couldn't put pen to paper. They couldn't propose something that was concrete, where they could say, we've got 4 votes, or 5 votes, or 6 votes. So it was aspirational discussion, but it never got concrete. So what really was the reality is that there was never an engaged discussion about how to extend these tax credits with specifics offered.
Plain and simple. Yes.
I'm trying to bring all this together in 2 questions, but to follow up, why not ask for that kind of meeting now, as you're saying the clock is ticking, and then 2, I'm still not sure I understand why you're putting this offer on the table, which is a non-starter for so many Republicans.
Okay.
Now, there's something closer that could get through the finish line.
It is not a non-starter. 13 votes could solve the problem. That's where the onus should be. Putting something together, putting something together that 2 Republicans might support when Johnson says he's not going to do anything, when half his caucus doesn't even want to repeal the ACA tax credits. Come on. The fault is there, not with us. And they can just vote for this, plain and simple. That's it. This subject. Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
Well, I was just going to add, the only way you make progress is you get concrete. What we are proposing is concrete. It might not be the way some of the Republicans want to solve the problem, but they are not being concrete. And the clock is ticking, as Lisa was saying. So this is a good faith proposal. It doesn't mean that Senator Schumer would negotiate on our behalf if there was a concrete counter proposal that was made. But the Republicans really have been AWOL, and the president's been AWOL.
You can't find even 30 or 50 Republicans in the House, even 10 or 12 in the Senate, who say they agree on something.
Right.
So come on, it's ridiculous. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. If you don't get these 13 Republican votes that you're seeking in these subsidies expire, will you continue to push for a legislative fix, or does this simply become a message?
Look, we're always willing to talk. We're always willing to talk to people who want to lower people's health care costs. So far, there's no one to talk to. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Look, just one last thing on that. You all have reported on all the House Republicans while they were home on vacation for, I don't know, 90 days, 120 days, however long Speaker Johnson kept them at home. Dozens of them went to the camera and said that we need to extend these tax credits. You all have reported on them. You know the votes exist. You know this. Well, do they want to do a 1 year, a 2 year, or 3 year? Put it in.
Does that imply that you're up for
Liz,
that negotiation
look,
for a year?
Ms. Stefanik, who's running for governor, has been one of the folks that's been bullying Speaker Johnson. Thank God for that recently, for having the courage to do that and showing some backbone. I appreciate that. And she's told them 1, 2 years. There's others that have said 3 years. Some have said 1, some have said 2.
You know, the reason everyone's so excited here, excuse me, is because they have no plan, they have no unity, they have nothing, and you're saying, why don't Democrats do something? We are doing something. We're doing the quickest, easiest, simplest way to take the burden off the backs of the American people, and they ought to vote for it.
But you're open for a compromise, a year and a half, a year? I mean, that's what I'm...
First, they got to vote for this. We can talk about things down the road. This is the only solution to avoid the January 1st cliff, plain and simple.
Chad, you know all the Republicans, man. Show me something.
Yeah,
you know
show
them.
us,
You know
show
them
us
best.
a group of them.
I mean,
You know them best.
There was a
Pull
group,
them in.
listen, to respond, there was a group of them this morning, a bipartisan group of more than 20 members, including at least a 10 or a dozen
In the House?
Republicans in the House.
Then Speaker Johnson should give them a vote.
In the
Send it
House.
over.
A one-year extension
have
that they're putting on the table
Speaker
today.
Johnson should give them a vote.
What did
and
they
send
say
it
about
over.
Hyde? Did you ask them? Is Hyde in it or not in it?
The
Ask them.
framework they had did not have Hyde.
I think keep current
Yeah.
policy. Yeah.
Well, look, why doesn't the Speaker give him a vote? He doesn't care. That's the problem. Mike's got to do the right thing here.
Thank you.
There's also not a single Republican.
There you
House
have it.
Senator.
Senate Democrats speaking on health care costs, or as they put it, the lack thereof, in essence, hoping to avoid a government shutdown, which could very well happen again come January. Meanwhile, President Trump, well, any minute now, he is set to host the leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo in Rwanda. While doing so, he will oversee the signing of a peace deal. That set to get underway momentarily. We'll take a quick break. Hey, on the flip side of this break, let's have a little fun, shall we? Talking about DC's own, yes, actor and comedian Tommy Davidson joins us next, right here on the Live Zone. Guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. You see that man right there? He needs no introduction. Comedian, actor, philanthropist, and oh, by the way, shall I say musician? Ladies and gentlemen, this is, drum roll please, producer Joey, give me a drum roll. Tommy Davidson.
All right. Right. Thank you, man.
What's up, my man?
You listened to a lot of Rush. That was Rush. You know, that was Rush right there.
Brother, it is an honor to have you sitting right here in this studio.
It's a miracle, really, you know, to go as far as I've gone.
Yeah.
And come from here.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely is a life victory for me to be able to do what I want to do. You know, but that's from doing what I had to do for so long. That's our journey, ain't it?
Well, but you do it oh so well, and one of the best to ever do it. What's really interesting is, and this is just so cool, while we were walking back here, one of the guys that works here stopped you and said, hey man, you know, last time you were here, I was telling you about I had your first special on VHS. And it got me thinking, Tommy, you've been around so long.
The word VHS, right. As long as he ain't say 8-track, we ain't got a problem. You know what I mean? We ain't got a problem. But yeah, man. But those were the early specials that I had were the best ones.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't done one in quite a long time, but I let them develop on their own. And I know when it's time.
Really?
You know, I know when it's time for the next one. So I don't really get worried about being relevant or anything like that, because it's just I feel good about what I'm doing. You know, and I got lucky that way that what I do people feel good about too. So to have those two things syncing up, that's kind of hard to get in one place. You know?
I would just have to argue though, sir, that you're always relevant. You're Tommy Davidson.
I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that.
What does that mean to you to see where, as you stated, where you came from, where you are, and what we see now with regard to the landscape of comedy?
Right. Well, you know, I got some balance there. Some balance because of the years put in and what I've seen. You know, like, for instance, Brad Pitt, I knew when he came in, I said, this guy's going to be something big. Did this movie called California.
Wow.
He played a part in that. Then he was in Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, this guy's going to roll. Then he did this thing called Cool World, and it bombed, right? But I'm going, nah, man, nothing's going to stop this guy, and I knew it. You know what I mean? Met Tom Brady early in his career. I was in Miami, the big star, and gave him the key to the city. You know, like, hey, man, this club, go to that club, go to that club, go to that club. And then he ends up being, I haven't seen him since.
Right.
But, you know, it's just to be able to reflect on that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and to go from living on Queens Chapel Road over here with my own little apartment.
Wow.
You know, working in Hechinger, you know, moving all the way out to LA and be able to tell that story. And then my friend who got me into comedy, Howard Higdon, grew up with me in my neighborhood, and he's the one that got me into comedy. And I get to see him this weekend up in Northern California.
Wow.
Unfortunately, he fell off a subway platform and is paralyzed.
Gosh.
But I'm here to see him.
Yeah.
I'm here for us to get together again. You know, and the gift that he gave me will never go away, because my mother, that was her favorite. So she would invite him to my house on Christmas morning. I have to give him one of my presents. You know, I used to be mad about that. But then look what the gift I got. Look at the gift I have out of the whole thing.
Yeah. Wow.
And me being able to see him, and him knowing that he's the one that said, you can be out in Hollywood doing, I mean, you can be big like Eddie Murphy and all of them if you just go.
Wow.
Yeah.
For somebody to believe in you like that, and to then see your progress, and then for you to reach the level that you're at now, and say, you know what, I don't forget, I'm going back to pay my respect. It speaks to your character.
Well, it's my mom. My mom told me, you look out for him. Always look out for Howard.
Yeah.
She said, always look out for him.
Wow. We're going to talk about. We're going to talk about your event in just a second, what you're here to do. But real quick, you made mention of being out in L.A. You're back here in D.C., and I'm pretty sure you frequent a lot. Talk about the change, because the Navy Yard back in the day was not the Navy Yard it is now.
The city has changed.
Right.
Physically.
Right. No longer Chocolate City.
Okay. Yeah. It's changed physically, but that goes back and forth.
Sure.
You know, landscapes always change. You know, it's always going to be home to me.
Okay.
You know, it's always going to be home to us.
Yeah.
You know, the people who are native Washington, D.C. or Maryland. You know, that's not going to change. You know, our surfaces change, but not interiors. Our heart.
Yeah.
Our heart is in it. This is the market that I grew up in, that I got everything from.
Wow.
You know, I grew up with AM radio, so there was no black and white music. It was just music.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up to Don Corsh's rock concert. You know, and you have Parliament Funkadelic and the Rolling Stones in one night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Busing had just started.
Wow.
You know, so I was one of the kids that got to go to school with all type of kids for the first time in American history.
Wow.
You know, I went through the hippie era, you know, because we were the kids while they were the hippies.
Yeah.
You know, and love and peace were in style. You were hip if you were related to somebody different. Ecology was in style. Don't pollute. You see what I'm saying? Peace was in style. It was like the cool thing.
Yeah.
You know, so to be here and watch the societal cycle now, the best part of that is knowing that that part in me is intact.
Wow. That's amazing, man. And yet again, coming from the man himself, Tommy Davidson, who, by the way, happens to be here tonight for a major event. Let's go ahead and put it up full screen. You see it right there. It's the annual gala celebration. It's taking place tonight from 6 until 9. It's at the Davis Room at Busboys and Pope. Hey, I know that well. That's it right there on K Street.
Yeah, man. And I don't know if you see my new hairstyle. You know, I got the gray going, so it reminds me of a former president. Who can not only talk politics, but can make it sound relevant. He can, you know, the thing I loved about Barack Obama is he can take something that sounds presidentially important that's not. For instance, Kellogg Frosted Flakes. I don't know if you've had them before, but if you look at the advertisement, it's a part of an essential breakfast. Okay, you see a carafe of orange juice, a carafe of milk, bananas and apples. Has nothing to do with the cereal, but it's a part of an essential breakfast. And Tony the Tiger's kind of cool. You know, he hangs out with children, knows everything what children want. Not like Michael Jackson, that's a whole different thing. And he has this blue bandana and he rocks that, but he's not a Crip. But he's a tiger, and he will scratch you to death. But the thing about it is he's children friendly. So the good thing about this is that Kellogg's Frosted Flakes is a part of an essential breakfast. Tony the Tiger has fun with children, not like Michael Jackson allegedly. And the main thing is that Kellogg's Frosted Flakes are great.
That's why he's one of the best, ladies and gentlemen. Hailing right here from the nation's capital, actor, comedian, philanthropist, musician, by the way, and you're doing so well.
The Proud Family, Trudy, Sugar Mama, you know, Varnell Hill. Did you miss me? You know, so it goes on and on, man.
Man, you can do this all day.
I'm the only person in movies that beat up Jim Carrey.
Really?
Ace Ventura 2. He quit his own chap.
Look, producer Joey, put the camera on you. Look, this is a Gen Zer, by the way.
He knows that, man.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Let's be the whole show.
Yeah. That was me. That was me in the bag. That comes out the bag. Yeah. I didn't know there were two Jews. We're biters. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I threw 2 arrows in his leg. You know what I mean? He said, "Right, devil, now you must die." You know what I mean?
Tommy Davidson joining us right here on the Live Zone. Respect, brother.
Man,
I
thank
appreciate
you, man. You
man.
guys have a great day, and thank you for the interview, man.
Oh, gosh. I need a break, guys. We'll be right back.
Hey, man.
Fox 5 Live Zone. Well, it's hard to believe that 2025 has come and gone. And as we embark on 2026, many of us would like to get a leg up on what's hot and what's not. That's where my next guest comes into play. I'm referring to food and lifestyle influencer Shannesty Ireland, who is here to share some of the top food trends for 2026. Good to see you, Shannesty. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for having me on this morning.
I got to tell you, I am such a fan of yours. So, full disclosure, I knew you were coming on the show, and I said, let me Google this person. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. You do all things cool.
Oh, you're so sweet. Yeah, you know, 5 kids, so I have to be cool. I have an almost 13-year-old son, so I have to stick with the 6, 7, and all that stuff. But yeah, you know, as far as the food is concerned, I make a lot of dishes, a lot of entertaining. I love this segment because I love looking ahead to the new year and trying to figure out what is going to be super popular for the new year.
Yeah, so as you heard me make mention, I had to do my research, and oh my gosh, I was so surprised about one thing and one thing only. Sweets happen to be in. You're speaking to my heart when it comes to sweet food, Shannesty.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about this because I think the gourmet chocolates, such as Esther Price or whatever gourmet chocolate's your favorite, it's no longer just for special occasions. It's okay to have a box of the chocolates like Forrest Gump did old school and just keep it in your pantry and to have some, indulge in it after a dinner. You know, I don't think we have to reserve these just for Valentine's Day or Mother's Day. That is back in. That's a huge trend. Also, mixing the sweets with the protein. I actually have the pork rinds here, the Southern Recipe Small Batch pork rinds, and I just drizzled a little bit of melted chocolate on top. That's going to get the savory and the sweet because protein in the new year is going to remain king. We keep hearing it, but it's important. Protein has proven to be so healthy for us. So if we can find different ways to intertwine the sweet and the protein, bonus.
Oh my gosh. Hold on, I have to take a pause for a minute because I'm still salivating over the fact that you just had pork rinds and chocolate combined. Cannot believe it.
Yeah, I know, it sounds crazy, but you know, that's one of the things that I think is really going to be different is because we have been having protein spoken to us so much in 2025. So now it's time to step outside of the box. Let's reinvent protein. Let's get outside of just having, you know, the beef sticks or just having the lean meat. Let's look at the pork rinds. Let's try to elevate it. You know, you can use the pork rinds for so many different things. You can even use it for breadcrumbs. You can use it as dippers for your sauces and for your dips. And as I mentioned before, even just having the chocolate drizzle on top, just like that. I have the white chocolate on here today, but it's really savory and sweet, and this is really fantastic for a snack or even if you're going to be entertaining in the new year.
Shannesty, you know the best part about this? I don't think I need I don't think you have to actually give me a recipe in order to make that. I mean, I guess I just melt chocolate, pour it right on top of the pork rinds. There you go.
Exactly. And anybody can do it. That's what's easy, and that's what easy peasy about it. That's what I love about having easy recipes. You don't have to have 25 different steps. Just keep it really simple for the new year.
Well, anyone can do that, but I can tell you what I cannot do, and that is plan for my New Year Eve's party. You know, this is something that's really hard for me. I got to figure it out, and I'm hoping you could provide me with some tips.
Yeah, I think that if you you have to figure out how many people you're going to have. Are you going to do the full-blown menu, or are you just going to have hors d'oeuvres or appetizers? I vote for appetizers. I think people really like to have finger foods. I really want to encourage everyone to ask people to bring a dish if they want to. I think if the people are coming, they're going to want to bring something. And instead of having 25 bottles of wine, ask them to bring something very specific. It can be something as simple as a bag of chips or even some napkins or something like that. I don't think that's too taboo anymore to do something like that. But keeping it really simple with the hors d'oeuvres, I love having dips. I love having, of course, the chocolate on the side. I love having even sliders. You can even have some Philly cheesesteak sliders. You can have a DIY charcuterie board with even biscuits and chicken and waffles. There's so many different options for what you want to do for New Year's Eve, but making it elevated, lots of glitter, lots of beautiful boards. I think that's the way to go.
Speaking of getting elevated, I need to get an invite to your home. I mean, all the things that you keep making mention of, gosh, you're making me so hungry. Real quick, and I know that we're looking forward, but I'm wondering, can we look back for just 1 second? And what I mean is something that we should not continue to do as we embark on 2026 surrounding food.
I think we don't have to get so stressed out. I think that easy meal planning that can happen earlier in the week. I love the idea of just sitting down on a Sunday or a Monday or Tuesday, whatever your off day is, planning out the schedule and trying to figure out what days are going to be absolute stressful for me. Instead of running through the drive-through, let me see if I can prepare a meal ahead of time. But also, like, give yourself some grace. If you have to order a pizza, that is okay. We are going to survive the new year. I think just giving ourselves some grace, not being so hard on ourselves. If you can't get all the protein in your diet for one day, that's okay. You just wake up the next day and start it again. I know we see so many influencers waking up. I'm sure you wake up early because of your job, but so many are waking up at 2:45 in the morning and not enjoying life. So, I think it just blows my mind. Enjoy life, have food, have drink, be merry, and don't be so hard on yourself.
Well, one thing's for sure, you're definitely waking up early, not because you're a food and lifestyle influencer, but because you're a cool mom as well.
Aww,
and we are so lucky
to
have you right here on the Live Zone. Yet again, we have been speaking with Shanice T. Ireland. This was really cool. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on this morning. I'm going to go tell my kids you said I was cool.
All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Keep it right here. We are awaiting several things. President Trump, any minute now, is set to host the leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo in Rwanda. This part of him overseeing the signing of a major peace deal. We have seen a lot of movement there. That should get underway in just about a minute or so. What we'll do in the meantime is take you to Philadelphia, where an anti-ICE rally now taking place. As you can see, protesters crying foul in a major way. That happening, but as we await that, we'll take you right back to, yet again, President Trump now approaching the podium as a major peace deal now set to get underway.
Well, thank you very much. Wow. This is a nice building, I have to tell you. So this is a special occasion for a lot of reasons, but number one is it's our first occasion in this building using it for peace. And it's all about peace, and it's a great honor. And Marco, you've done a fantastic job in getting it ready, but it's a spectacular building, and we all appreciate it. And very importantly, we're settling a war that's been going on for decades with millions and millions of people killed. And these two gentlemen spent a lot of time backstage talking to each other, and over at the Oval Office. We were at the Oval Office together. It was beautiful. And I think it's just a very important day. And we have other leaders from other countries. And you said such beautiful things. I'd love to have you come up. We'll finish up, and then I'd love to have you come up, and if you could issue the words that you just issued backstage. It usually doesn't work, you know. It usually never happens. They said it much better before, but you will probably do better up here. But I'd love to have you say how you felt, because it is an amazing day. Great day for Africa, great day for the world, and for these two countries, and they have so much to be proud of. And I want to thank the leaders. I want to thank you very much. It means maybe more because we are here together for the first time ever in this building. Brand new, beautiful building. I don't want to tell you how much it costs, because I hear it's a lot. Okay? They don't build inexpensively here. But I just want to thank you very much. So please sit down, everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here. It's a momentous occasion. It's truly incredible setting. It's very few places I've seen like this. In this holy season, we prepare to celebrate the birth of the Prince of Peace. We have come to the U.S. Institute of Peace to sign a historic agreement that will end one of the longest-running conflicts anywhere in the world, with far more than 10 million people killed. Today, we commit to stopping decades of violence and bloodshed and to begin a new era of harmony and cooperation between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda. I want to thank the two courageous leaders. They are courageous leaders. They really are courageous leaders, great people. President Tshisekedi of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and President Kagame of Rwanda. They are amazing people, and they had stories to tell me that were incredible. Really fascinating in so many different ways. Sad and beautiful, both sad and beautiful, and today makes them beautiful. I've just held really fantastic meetings with both men and representatives of other countries where we discussed the importance of upholding this new agreement. Very detailed, powerful agreement. I also want to thank several foreign guests and dignitaries in attendance to celebrate this magnificent event, including the President of Angola. Please, would you stand? And so great to see you. Thank you. The President of Burundi. Thank you very much. Great to see you again. The President of Kenya. We have the Olympics here. You know, they do very well in the Olympics, those runners. I don't know what the heck you do with those runners, but they are very good. I've been watching them for a long time. So we have the Olympics coming to the United States. You know that. Thank you very much. And you'll come as our guest. Thank you. And the President of the Council of Ministers of Togo. Thank you. Thank you very much. The Vice President of Uganda. Thank you. It's such a beautiful color. Like all these guys are wearing these dark suits. You just stand out for a lot of reasons. You're beautiful. The foreign ministers of Qatar. Thank you. Thank you very much. Say hello to my friend, a great man. And the United Arab Emirates. Thank you. Thank you. My regards, right? And the chairman of the African Union Commission, who's done a fantastic job, and thank you for all your help. We appreciate all your help. A special group of people. A very special thanks as well to Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Marco, please stand. Thank you. And thank you for putting a certain name in that building. I said, boy, that is beautiful. That blew up last night. They said, that's a great honor. It really is. On this building, it's a great honor. Thank you very much. I assume you had a lot to do with that. Just a little bit. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. And Senior Advisor for Africa, Masad Boulos, who's been fantastic. Thank you, Masad. All of these people, every one of them were indispensable in forging this agreement. Let me also recognize Senators Mike Rounds and Lindsey Graham. Lindsey, thank you. Mike, wherever you may be. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Representatives Ronnie Jackson. Where's Ronnie? Ronnie is that great guy. He won his race in Texas by 48 points, right, Ronnie? So I don't have to ask if he's in any, I don't even have to endorse him anymore. It doesn't matter. Save the paper, right? Great job. Chris Smith. Chris? Thank you, Chris. Great. Good job. Trent Kelly. Trent? Thank you very much. Thank you. And the acting president of the Institute for Peace, Darren Beatty. Thank you, Darren, very much. Thank you very much, Darren. For more than 30 years, one of the worst conflicts on earth has been raging in eastern Congo. Millions and millions of people have been tragically killed, went on forever, and countless more have been displaced from their homes. Families have been destroyed. It's been a disaster. Many administrations have tried, but probably not too hard, knowing who preceded me. But they tried. It says they've tried. But we tried harder to end this conflict. But they've accomplished, obviously, they accomplished very little because the killing went on at levels that just got worse and worse. And today we're succeeding where so many others have failed. And this has become the 8th war that we've ended in less than 1 year. Such an exciting thing to do. This has been a really, because we're talking about 30 years of fighting, 30 years, much more than 10 million lives. Last June, thanks to the efforts of Secretary Rubio and Mr. Boulos, Rwanda and the DRC reached a landmark agreement to move toward peace. They started the process. I met with some of their great representatives who are here also, and we started a great process. The compact we're signing today, which will be known as the Washington Accords, everybody sort of liked that name, formalizes the terms agreed to in June, including a permanent ceasefire, the disarmament of non-state forces, provisions for refugees to return to their homes, and justice and accountability for those who have committed illegal atrocities. Very importantly, this agreement also creates a new framework for economic prosperity. There's tremendous wealth in that beautiful earth. It's beautiful earth, but it was stained badly with blood, tremendous amounts of blood. But in the region that will support a lasting peace, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda have agreed to more closely integrate their economies with each other rather than fighting, and they'll be doing that. And these two gentlemen are very smart, and I think they liked each other a lot. I spent time with them. I think they liked some people may be surprised. I really do. I think they've spent a lot of time killing each other, and now they're going to spend a lot of time hugging, holding hands, and taking advantage of the United States of America economically like every other country does. So they're going to do very well, but they do have some very valuable things. They're going to have a lot of money and a lot of success, and I think they're going to get along really well, so I hope so. Thank you very much. Look at them. Look at the way they love each other. Thank you. So I have a lot of confidence in both leaders. We'll keep these commitments. I know they're going to keep them and follow through on the agreement and create a much brighter future for the people of their countries and their heroes within their countries because of today. This is a big story, and so much is being written and said. All of the newscasts have it at the top of the list, and they are heroes, and we want to keep it that way. Today, the United States is also signing our own bilateral agreements with the Congo and Rwanda that will unlock new opportunities for the United States to access critical minerals and provide economic benefits for everybody. And we'll be involved with sending some of our biggest and greatest companies over to the two countries. And we're going to take out some of the rare earth and take out some of the assets and pay, and everybody's going to make a lot of money. These are just two of the many new agreements related to mineral supplies that my administration has achieved this year, including with Australia, Japan, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, South Korea, and many other countries. With all of these agreements, we're forging new economic security partnerships that protect the interests of America and our friends and partners, and a core feature of my administration's national security strategy, a big part of which is the tariffs. We're taking in trillions of dollars in tariffs. Nobody's ever seen anything like it, and it's given us really great national security. We'll be paying down debt. We'll be making distributions to people, and we're really doing a job. It's amazing. I was with a gentleman, the future king of Saudi Arabia, and you've heard me say this a couple of times, but 2 months ago when I was over there, he said, and actually Qatar is represented today, and UAE is represented, and your leader said the exact same thing, different words, but the exact same thing, that 1 year ago they thought our country was dead, and now our country is the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're the hottest country anywhere in the world. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We have over $18 trillion, that's just in 10 months, pledged or being invested or pledged to be invested in the United States. Think of that, $18 trillion. The highest amount we've ever had is 1.5. Under the Biden administration, they did much less than 1 in 4 years. Think of that. So they did less than $1 trillion in 4 years. We have $18 trillion in 10 months. It's going to be much more than that, too. No other country in history has ever been close, no matter what country you pick. So I want to thank you again, everybody, for your great vision, and I want to thank the people, especially the people that we named. Some of the others that unfortunately we didn't name, we just couldn't do that. But for your vision and for your courage, because it's made it possible to begin healing old wounds and transcending past differences and creating a future where every child of God can live in dignity, prosperity, and peace. And these are two very good men, and they're two potentially very strong countries. I'd like to now invite President Kagame to come up and say a few words. It's Rwanda. And then, if I may, President of DRC, who really is doing a great job. These are two men that are doing a great job. And again, they are so respected because of what they're doing today and the mission that they've really, I think, accomplished. And we'll see how it all works out, but I think it's going to work out really great. They want to get on to other ways of living for their people, and they're great leaders. Thank you very much. Please, Mr. President, thank you. Thank you very much.
Excellency Donald Trump, President of the United States of America, Excellencies, heads of state and government and former heads of state, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to begin with some words of thanks. First, to my fellow heads of state and government from Africa, your presence here confirms that these efforts enjoy the broad support necessary to succeed. I also thank Minister of State Kulaifi, representing His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad of Qatar. The role of Qatar has been absolutely central in getting us to this point. But of course, the biggest vote of thanks goes to President Donald Trump. No one was asking President Trump to take up this task. Our region is far from the headlines. But when the President saw the opportunity to contribute to peace, he immediately took it. This conflict has lasted for 30 years. We have seen countless mediations and efforts, but none has succeeded in resolving the underlying issues. President Trump introduced a new and effective dynamism that created the space for breakthroughs. His approach is even-handed, never taking sides. He orients us toward the future, not the past, emphasizing that the dividend of peace is prosperity and investment, including from the United States. More importantly, President Trump's approach is pragmatic. The process has not become an end in itself. All of these elements filter down to his dedicated team, and here I want to single out Secretary Rubio and Masad Boulos for special appreciation. would not be here today without their efforts. And as a result, we have the clearest and most viable path forward that we have ever had. These accords provide everything needed to end this conflict once and for all. If this agreement falters and things do not work out as they are supposed to, the responsibility will not lie with President Trump, but with ourselves. It's up to us in Africa, working with our partners to consolidate and expand this peace. There will be ups and downs on the road ahead. There is no doubt about it. Rwanda, I know, will not be found wanting. I can assure you of that. Our only objective is and has always been for our country to be safe and secure after having endured so much tragedy. We now only want to look forward in confident expectation of a prosperous and stable future. Mr. President, Excellencies, I thank you for your kind attention.
Mr. the President of the United States, Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, dear members of the delegations, distinguished guests, as we have just placed our signatures at the bottom of the joint declaration enshrining the Washington agreements for peace and prosperity, I do feel, on behalf of the people of Congo, a deep gratitude and clear hope. First of all, I would like to express quite solemnly our deep thanks to the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump. I would like to thank his administration and also wish to thank the American people for the critical role that they played for the rapprochement, the closening between the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Republic of Rwanda. To these thanks, I also bring in all of our regional partners and our international partners who, thanks to their commitment and engagement, have consistently made this critical moment possible in the road to peace. First and foremost, we have Sheikh Yanim bin Ahmad Adani. We have President João Manuel Lourenço Gonçalves, who is the President of Angola and the acting President of the African Union. And we also have the former President of the Republic of Kenya, my brother, Uhuru Kenyatta, who I can see here in the room. These two great Africans who are at the beginning, who started the Rwanda and the Nairobi processes. And beyond them, I wish to thank also all of the African leaders who contributed to help us in this struggle. And I do hope that we have, yes, reached the end. The Washington agreements are not yet another document. These represent a turning point. They bring together under a coherent architecture a declaration of principles of a peace agreement and also the regional economic integration framework to provide to the peoples of the region a new perspective, a new outlook, namely to finally overcome the cycle of violence, of forced displacement, of mistrust, defiance, in order to begin a new era of friendship, cooperation, and prosperity all shared together. For those involved, the Democratic Republic of Congo takes this solemn commitment to implement with complete sincerity all of our obligations that stem from this agreement. We will do this with seriousness, with rigorousness, and also the constant care for peace and the security of our populations, for the unity and the integrity of our territory. We do hope that thanks with the same seriousness that the Republic of Rwanda will also respect fully the letter and the spirit of the commitments made here in Washington. We are reaching out for a peaceful cooperation based on mutual respect, non-interference, and the joint struggle against the armed groups, the end of all support to negative forces, and the beginning of fair prosperity on behalf of our two populations. I do believe this day is the beginning of a new path, a demanding path, yes indeed, quite difficult, but this is a path where peace will not just be a wish, an aspiration, but a turning point. The Democratic Republic of Congo will fully play its part with dignity, with consciousness and consistency, and with the support of our partners. We will remain watchful, vigilant, but not pessimistic. We'll be clear-eyed, but resolutely optimistic. These Washington agreements for peace and prosperity must be for our peoples a symbol of an irreversible commitment to turn the page of confrontations and to open a new era of cooperation and sustainable peace throughout the region. Thank you.
So, if I might, my four new friends, a couple of cases not that new. Could you come up, please? Do you mind? Please. They represent so many and so well, so I just want to thank you very much. Good.
All right, yet again, we are now going to take you to the FBI arrest of a suspect into the investigation into pipe bombs planted near the Republican and Democratic National Party headquarters based in D.C. prior to the rioting of the U.S. Capitol. Let's take a live look into Pam Bondi.
This morning, Brian Cole Jr. was arrested and charged with placing the pipe bombs at the RNC and the DNC on January 5th, 2021. He has been charged with violating 18 U.S.C. 844, which is use of an explosive device. This investigation is ongoing. As we speak, search warrants are being executed, and there could be more charges to come. I'm going to let our U.S. Attorney discuss that shortly. This was the work of multiple agencies working together. This morning's operation was carried out safely and successfully. We know that there are so many issues when you're issuing search warrants. dangerous things can happen, and this was carried out safely and securely thanks to all of the people standing around me. They have worked tirelessly on this. Today's arrest happened because the Trump administration has made this case a priority. The total lack of movement on this case in our nation's capital undermined the public trust of our enforcement agencies. This cold case languished for 4 years until Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino came to the FBI. The FBI, along with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our prosecutors, have worked tirelessly for months, sifting through evidence that had been sitting at the FBI with the Biden administration for 4 long years. Let me be clear, there was no new tip, there was no new witness, just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work, working as a team along with ATF, Capitol Police, Metropolitan Police Department, and of course, the FBI. We are working every day to restore the public's trust. We hope that today is a significant step towards that progress. We'll share more information when we can and when it unfolds. I cannot stress enough how hard Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino have worked for months to make our nation's capital safer and to make our country safer. I'd like to introduce now Director Patel.
Thank you, General. When you attack American citizens, when you attack our institutions of legislation, when you attack our nation's capital, you attack the very being of our way of life. And this FBI and this Department of Justice stand here to tell you that we will always refute it and combat it. We will provide the safest country the nation has ever seen under President Trump's leadership here. And that's what we did here today with great resolve on a case of massive public importance, as it should be. An individual who is now alleged to have placed multiple explosive devices to blow up multiple people and multiple officials, innocent civilians, is now arrested thanks to the brave men and women of the FBI and the interagency. I want to take a moment to thank the Metropolitan Police Department, the United States Capitol Police, our brave prosecutors, the Department of Justice, and our leader, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, whose relentless work on this case made this possible. As the Attorney General said, we did not discover any new information. What we did, an investigation spearheaded by the Deputy Director and the ADIC of our Washington field office, brought in a new team of investigators and experts, re-examined every piece of evidence, sifted through all the data, something that the prior administration refused and failed to do. As a result of that, we generated numerous investigative leads, executed multiple legal process with our U.S. attorney partners, and came to this conclusion today. And that is why we were able to safely secure this individual into custody. Remember, we are dealing with an individual who is alleged to have made bombs. We cannot do this sort of takedown in haste because it endangers the lives of law enforcement. And this FBI will never allow the lives of law enforcement and our prosecutors to be put in jeopardy. This execution was flawless in terms of teamwork, resilience, and just a good old-fashioned way of police getting the job done. When you let good cops be cops, this is what happens. I'm eternally grateful to the team behind me, to the leadership at the FBI who made this possible. But I do want to highlight, when I introduce the deputy, he made this case and so many others, including Summer Heat, his priority to come in here and solve it for the American people. And today, I'm proud to stand here before you and say, we solved it. He will have his day in court. The American public and the world will learn even more information through the legal process. As we have committed under this Attorney General, we are the most transparent law enforcement operation in U.S. history, but we are also going to make sure accountability is delivered to its fullest extent, and that happens in the courts of law with our U.S. attorneys and our prosecutors. So we will divulge information when it is prudent and constitutionally permissible, while upholding the safeguards of this case to make sure that the people that this individual intended to victimize get the accountability they deserve, and most importantly, to deliver on President Trump's promise to secure our nation's capital and the rest of the cities in this country to make sure that Americans are allowed to go out free and securely in their neighborhoods and that people around the world are allowed to visit our nation's capital, and they now have that trust thanks to the leadership of the FBI, the Washington Field Office, and I'm honored now to introduce to you Deputy Director Bongino, who spearheaded this investigation.
Thank you all for being here for this critical investigation we've been working on for a very long time. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words, Attorney General and Director. I appreciate it. Folks, this is what it's like when you work for a president who tells you to go get the bad guys and stop focusing on other extraneous things not related to law enforcement. This is what happens. We had a great team. I know it's said a lot in this business. It was a team effort. It becomes cliche, but cliches are useful for a reason because they matter. And this was a team effort. The director and the attorney general emphasized that it was not a new public tip this came from. This was our internal work at the FBI. And I want to just really express my sincere
All right, yet again, actually, could it be, Joy? Yet again, the press conference underway surrounding all things with the arrest of Mr. Brian Cole out of Woodbridge. A couple of things is being stated during that press conference, and we lost the feed. I should let you know we should have that up momentarily. But according to Director Kash Patel, he stated that this case, in essence, lingered for far too long, and this was placed into the hands of the FBI under the Trump administration, yet again crediting the president. According to Director Patel, he hopes to restore the public's trust while they continue to investigate. One of the interesting points that he did point out happens to surround new information and or the lack thereof. According to Director Patel, they did not discover any new information surrounding this case, but utilized new staff. He also stated that this happened to be a flawless arrest and was somewhat concerned early on that officers and or law enforcement could be hurt and or injured during the process of that arrest. As he stated, well, this has been one of the most transparent administrations in U.S. history, and as he put it, the proof is in the pudding. Our very own Bob Barnard is at the location of the press conference, which is getting underway, or is momentarily paused, if you will. Yet again, we lost the feed, but we'll get a live report from him momentarily right here on the Live Zone. In the meantime, we'll take you back to President Trump as he oversees another peace deal, in this case being signed by the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda. Let's take a live look in.
It has destroyed livelihoods, destabilized our region, and threatened the future of the entire Great Lakes African continent. Today's achievement culminates a relentless regional effort anchored by the foundational work of the East African Community and SADC, and today, this Washington process. The coordinated Nairobi, Luanda, and Washington process has created the essential pathway that brings us to this pivotal moment. We would like to extend our gratitude to President Tshisekedi and President Kagame for their leadership during this process.
All right, we're going to take you back yet again to the press conference that's underway surrounding the arrest of Mr. Brian Cole of Woodbridge.
Partners devoted to identifying the pipe bomber cannot be overstated. It is the resolve and determination of our investigators that ultimately led to the identification and the arrest of this suspect. We all know pipe bombs are dangerous, not because of the potential loss of life, damage to property, or injury that they can cause, but also because they are tools that terrorize our community. Fortunately, these bombs did not explode, although they certainly could have. But make no mistake, the alleged pipe bomber did terrorize our community. Today's actions underscore the long memory and the long reach of the FBI and our partners. I know some people had given up on finding the perpetrator, but not the FBI and not our partners. We do not forget, we do not give up, and we do not relent. Though it had been nearly 5 years, our team continued to churn through massive amounts of data and tips that we used to identify this suspect. I want to thank Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino for their leadership and for providing us the resources and the personnel to reevaluate all of the data that we had. We dove into more than 3 million lines of data to come up with this suspect. Director Patel, Deputy Director Bongino, thank you for your support, thank you for your passion, and thank you for your investment in this investigation. From me, on behalf of the investigators, the Washington Field Office, and all of our partners, thank you. I'd also like to thank Judge Pirro. Judge, your team and you are absolutely amazing. You're the type of prosecutors and U.S. attorney, that all of the investigators across the country want to work with. They're hard-nosed and they're aggressive, and thank you for that. I'd also like to thank the American public. The American public for providing tips and leads, not just on this case, but every day on cases across the country that are being solved by law enforcement. And finally, I want to commend all of the members of the Washington Field Office, and most specifically, the investigative team. Their diligence and persistence led to this arrest today, and they are absolutely, totally dedicated not only to this case, but every case they work. So thank you, Washington Field Office. Last, I will say our work is not done. The FBI will continue to pursue every lead and use every resource that we have to ensure that the D.C. pipe bomber is brought to justice. Thank you.
You keep hearing the words partnership and team, and that's what we are. And we could not do this without our U.S. Attorney, Jeanine Pirro. Jeanine, from day one, has worked tirelessly for our country and for our nation's capital. It's my honor to introduce my friend, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro.
Thank you very much, Attorney General. And you have been listening to a lot of thank yous and a lot of gratitude. The reason that we're thanking each other to the extent that we are today is because we have seen in this case an incredible collaboration around the clock, in the middle of the night. It doesn't matter. We call each other, we make contact, they need a warrant, they need something, someone wants legal advice. These are the men and women who never give it up. You hear about government employees, but I don't know if you really realize what it is that they do. They are incredible, and this case is big. 4 years, 10 months, and 28 days ago, an individual placed a bomb in the vicinity of both the RNC and the DNC. And for that amount of time, that individual evaded accountability. Today, as a result of the cumulative efforts of the men and women in the FBI and the police department and the Department of Justice, we are finally able to make an arrest of an individual by the name of Brian Cole. As the Attorney General has indicated, he is arrested for transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce, as well as the attempted malicious destruction by means of explosive materials. You know, folks, this case involved millions of pieces of data. And it is a huge win because it was like finding a needle in a haystack. So much of this evidence was very specific, but a lot of it was also very general. For example, there were 233,000 black end caps of the type that were used in this case. I want you to think about the fact that the FBI had to go through the sale of every one of them to try to find commonality with an individual, along with the purchase of the pipe itself, the cap ends, the wires, the steel, and the 9-volt batteries. Every one of those had to be mined and remind to the point where we were able to then connect. And make no mistake, it was this administration, it was this president who made the decision that we were going to use all of our efforts to get it done, and get it done they did. Finally, let me say this. Today begins the formal process of accountability, where this defendant will begin his journey through the criminal justice system. And I pledge to you that the United States Attorney's Office will take this case across the finish line. Again, thank you to the incredible work of the FBI, to the Attorney General, and to our local partners as well. This is a job that I think was well done.
Thank you. President Trump's directive to all of us was to not only make America safe again, but D.C., and to make it safe and beautiful. We could not have done that without our partnership with Mayor Bowser and Chief Smith. It is my honor to introduce Metropolitan Police Department Chief Smith.
Good afternoon, and thank you, everyone. I am Chief Pamela Smith, Chief of Police of the Metropolitan Police Department. Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro, and FBI Director Patel for having me here today. For nearly 5 years, the agencies standing here today have worked together under the leadership of the FBI to locate our suspect who is responsible for the 2 pipe bombs that were placed around our city. MPD members assigned to the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force have supported this case from the beginning. That supports include looking, reviewing, and going through countless, probably thousands of hours of CCTV footage from around the DNC and RNC headquarters, and they followed up on hundreds and thousands of leads from members of our communities. What I will say today is that Washingtonians can rest easier today knowing that the suspect responsible for this act is now in custody. This morning's arrest is yet another reminder that committing any act with the intention of harming the residents and visitors of the District of Columbia will result in your arrest. The men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI, the ATF, the U.S. Capitol Police, and certainly the prosecutors at our U.S. Attorney's Office will go to the furthest length. I heard somebody say to the end of the earth, but thank God we didn't have to go to the end of the earth today, that we were able to bring this subject into custody. I want to commend the men and women of the FBI and the members of the Metropolitan Police Department and all of the agencies who are standing behind me today on a job well done. I will turn it over now to Attorney General Bondi.
We're going to take some questions. Just remember, as I said in the beginning, this is ongoing. It's very active. The search warrants are still being executed. Many charges potentially to come. So just keep that in mind when asking your questions.
Jake, Fox News. So you said it had been nearly 5 years, we all know that, and that you said there have been no new evidence. So can you say anything about the evidence that actually did lead to this arrest? And then secondarily, you're talking about additional charges possibly. Can you say what those you might be considering, or terrorism charges, or what?
We can't discuss new charges, of course, yet, ongoing. But what I will say is this is why this was so incredibly important, more than any other case, is this is in our nation's capital where this happened. And now, thanks to the FBI, we know that this defendant was living just miles away from here in Virginia. So as to the evidence in the case, I'm going to let Director Patel take that, but it's still very active and very ongoing.
Thank you, General. And as I stated earlier, and as the General has already reiterated, our job is to provide full accountability in the court of law with Judge Pirro's team. And in order to do that, we have to preserve the chain of custody and evidentiary value. What I will say generally is that when you go through 3 million lines of information, y'all can think about the amount of cell phone data that has to be ingested and triangulated and dumped and received. You also have to think of just sheer human ingenuity. We brought in a team of experts who were the best at what they do in their specific fields to reevaluate that evidence, to dive back in, and to not come back with a no for an answer until they had found the suspect. And when you develop evidence, you get a search warrant. And when you get a search warrant, you get an address. And when you get an address, you hit the house. And that's what we did.
Sadie, Wall Street Journal.
Hi there.
So what can you tell us about this person's motivations and whether they were driven by politics or for any other reason why?
Right now, it's ongoing. Again, we just executed the search warrant early this morning. It's ongoing. But America's safer, DC's safer because he's in custody.
Mary Margaret Daly Warner.
Thank you so much. So, any theory on why Kamala Harris has never mentioned coming within 20 feet of being assassinated, and any news on why her Secret Service team took so long to find this bomb at the DNC?
No, but what I will tell you is that evidence has been sitting there collecting dust. This wasn't a new tip. It wasn't some new evidence. It was the hard work of President Trump's administration, Deputy Director Bongino and Director Patel. I watched them from day one come in here and say, we are going to solve this crime. And they did, working hand in hand with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our great attorneys.
Pierre, ABC.
General Bondi, Director Patel, or Deputy Director Bongino, can you describe, was there a particular moment where the evidence is coming in and it's starting to look like progress is being made? What was the moment that you knew that you were on the road to solving the case?
Dan, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. I was smiling at you because I certainly remember the moment. Darren remembers it too. He said, "Are you sitting down?" He called me on the phone. I said, "Oh boy, why? Is this bad news?" And he said, "I think we got him." What exactly that tip was, we're going to have to pass on that for right now while we're still, obviously we're in the prologue of a long book. This is just the beginning. This is not the end of the investigation, as you all well know, having reported on these for a long time. There's interviews to be conducted. The search warrant processing scene is not even done. So we're at the early stages, so that's the only reason I hesitate to tell you what the exact tip was. But yes, that was absolutely the moment, and it was due to the diligent and incredible work of a team in the Washington field office that came in and just scoured through this over and over and over and over again.
In general, was it forensic? Was it a phone call? Was it something about a vehicle?
We'll just leave it generally, forensic evidence. Yeah, it's fair enough to say.
How long ago was that?
Excuse me?
How long ago that was?
I'd rather not say because of the ongoing interview process, and I don't want to. Yeah.
I just want to add something to tell you how thorough this team was. That moment that was kind of like the aha moment, that wasn't the end. This team continued to work and work and work to get every bit of evidence that we could get. We didn't stop at that moment, and that's a testament to the fact that the team wanted every possible piece of evidence that they could gather.
One more? One more, Kelly O'Donnell, NBC.
Thank you so much. Have you recovered the notable sneakers? Have you done surveillance of this suspect from that aha moment to when you exercised the search warrants today? And obviously this happened on January 5th into January 6th. How should the public look at this case separate from all of the cases related to what transpired on January 6th and the president's subsequent pardons?
I'm going to let Director Patel take the evidence part. We have to be careful again. You've asked very good investigative questions, but this is ongoing, very active. But America should feel safer today. We say a pipe bomb. These are bombs. These were live, active bombs that were placed in Washington, D.C. Director.
Thank you. This shows you how much detail you and the American public have paid attention to this case. Of course, we analyzed everything that you're seeing on this poster board and information that you will see through the formal charging process and court process. But we want to let that evidence speak for itself because, again, we do not want to disrupt the accountability that we owe the American public. Yes, you heard about the cell phone tower data. Yes, you heard about, of course, we surveil individuals who we think we're going to blow up American citizens. But how and when we do it and why we do it is not something we're ever going to reveal unless the Department of Justice deems it fit at trial. So we appreciate your attention to detail and your hardcore investigative work, But you can just imagine some of those same skills were being utilized by this FBI, this Department of Justice, our partners, the ATF, and everybody across the board. And this is an interagency win for the American people.
Was this suspect on your radar
All right,
before?
thank you guys very
How was
much.
this
Thank you all. And one more thing, this is the best birthday present I think Deputy Director Bongino could ask for today.
How is it different?
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Thank you.
How is it different, ma'am, than the other cases?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.